All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone was able to join or is able to join at the moment. I can see there are already a lot of participants, so yes, I suggest that we start. So first of all, of course, during these Corona times, you are maybe not aware of who's behind your screen. So we would like to introduce ourselves. I am Emmanuel Herpels. I am the relationship manager at Connective. I've been working here for over 1 year, and of course, yeah, I'm responsible for the existing clients.
I'm Maarten Wijn. I'm the QA lead at Connective. I'm here for a bit less than 2 years, and the name explains itself. I'm involved in the quality of the product.
Okay. So before we start, I would like to go over some practicalities. As you know, this webinar will be about half an hour, so including the presentation and the questions afterwards. You may have noticed that all of you are muted. We intended this so it's clear for everyone, but questions can be asked through the chat and will be answered at the end of this webinar. Next to that, you will receive the presentation together with the recording of this webinar and all the questions with answers given afterwards, so you have a clear overview. In case something comes to mind that you didn't think of during this webinar, please feel free to reach out to me or to service, and we are more than happy to help you.
So what's new with eSignatures 6.0? Of course, a major version, we bring a major API version, so API version 4. We'll go in detail, but we can already say it will be a lot better for clients to offer a lot more flexibility and in the creation of packages, mostly for API users. We also offer the SignID software. SignID software unifies the previous browser packages in one software package. So you'll only need to do one install and it will work for all your browsers. Updates will happen in the background, so it will be a one install. Sometimes, of course, there will be a big update for the SignID and then you will require a new installation, but it will most likely not happen a lot. We also introduced SSO, a big feature, one of our major features in 6.0. We will go into depth later in this presentation on what it does and what the benefits are for you and for your clients. We also have the Notification Hub. Of course, Notification Hub, it brings a new and nice, very nice, clean HTML mails which deliver the notifications, such as invitations for signing, invitations for registration, and all the other things we send. We also introduce a WAF. WAF is actually a firewall which makes sure that attackers or possible attackers can't reach our application and are stopped before they can ever reach any data of anything. We also have ItsMe Advanced. So advanced signatures will be rolled out in the future for ItsMe. Let's go to the next slide. We'll show a demo here.
Yeah, so the focus is how to install your SignID and as well how to use a single sign-on with Azure ID.
Yes, so we'll start it. So here I show how to log in with SSO. We use Azure Active Directory as our company uses Microsoft Office 365. And for example, if your company does too, you could use SSO with your Office ID. You can see me trying to log in here. So I use my Connective mail address, maartenwijn@connective.eu. I'll enter my password here. Again, I'll show my email address so you can see this is not an extra user. This is just my user for my company. We have an extra security, so we need to do a check with the mobile application. So you see we arrive in the portal without having to log in on our login page. So this is actually the SSO. Here I'm uploading a document in our portal. Nothing new here. This is just as it was. I'll change the name to test document. I'll show you a few different languages. You can select a new theme. We use new connective. So this is the document I'll use for this test. And I'll assign somebody to sign it. Of course, it's myself, as this is just a demo. I'll be using AID. So now I'm trying to finish the package. As you see, this is approvers. These are all features which were done in 5.5. So we'll not focus on this. Of course, you can still use them. So here I open the document I've just uploaded. The initiator is me, and the signer is also me. So we'll go to the what you see, what you sign to sign the document. So this is a fresh installation, so I don't have a browser package yet. So I have to do the installation of the sign ID later on. You also see there's a question mark. So in what you see is what you sign, we introduced a new feature, which gives you the option to get a how to use what you see is what you sign. We'll show you here. This is actually our part of our new installation of the sign ID. Whenever you don't have this installed on your device, you will be prompted to install it. You can see in order to be able to sign a document, you need to have the sign ID software. There's a video explaining how to do this, but we will not see this video right now. We'll just skip this as we'll just show you how to do it. Here we'll start to download. At the bottom, you see the icon popping up. If it's not working, you can always try again with the download again button. So I'll click the installer here. It's verifying and it will soon open. So this is our package, which will replace all the browser packages. This is the installation. You can see this is just an installation you can do on your device. Takes some time to do, but it's a one-time install for every browser. So it simplifies it a lot. It's very easy to do. It's one install. It's very straightforward instead of using a lot of different packages for a lot of different browsers. And then, of course, the rest of the signing is actually the same as we are used to. So we'll go back to our presentation here. Let's go to the next slide. The second big part of our eSignatures 6.0 release is the API v4. API v4 introduces a very flexible way of creating, changing, submitting packages. Every element you can use or you will be able to use can be submitted, can be changed. You can use a get, a post, a delete for everything differently than our previous API. Is actually that this is very flexible. The integration will be very easy, as you will be able to change everything along the way. A big remark is that this will only be for packages in draft. So whenever a package is past the status draft, you will not be able to change it anymore, which is of course how we're used to. We'll see to move on to our next slide here.
So yeah, I will quickly explain a little bit more about Notification Hub. I know that this is like a new tool that a lot of you have been waiting for. So of course, it's always really nice to present your messages, if it is an email or maybe a text message, in a nice way. As you may notice, these are the first steps into personalizing your communication. So here's an example of the email. As you can see, we have used a little bit of color, a little bit of personalization, for example, the logo that we added, and also the button you can click instead of using the link, which may be a little bit inconvenient. So this is really easy and very clear and nice presented. And as Maarten already mentioned before, it is possible to configure this in HTML. Format. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to us and we can help you in customizing your messages. Just to emphasize once more, this is only the beginning of the notification hub, something we would like to add in the future as well. At this moment, you only have one template per language, but in the future, we would like to have the possibility, or make you have the possibility to choose between different templates, depending, of course, on the audience or signer you would like to target. As always, we provide you a little sneak peek of the upcoming eSignature releases. So here you can see a small overview of the coming versions in the near future, so it's still this year. So next month, we will release the 6.1. So as Maarten already mentioned before, the sign-in is only a beginning of more flexibility in adding more signing types. So we started with the software, but we will in July actually add more signing types. So for example, for Luxembourg or other countries. These are yet to be confirmed, but Luxembourg is something we definitely have on our roadmap. We also have the mandated signing. It is something that's already in place right now, but we want to add different checks. So you will have the possibility to actually add a field where you can note which check you want to do. So for example, for the registered number on an identity card.
Yeah, you'll be able to implement your own rules to be validating users.
Exactly. So in September, we have the 6.2. So we will focus a little bit more on audit because it's also very important and something that has been requested by some of you. So on one hand, this will be mostly in the portal focus, but on one hand, you will have the possibility to just download the PDF and also track it. So this is something that is very convenient just to have an extra security check. And then more to the end of the year, so in November, we have the 6.3. We have forms. So it's something that I already mentioned in the previous webinar for the ones that weren't able to attend. It is actually a step before starting the signing process. So the signer will have the possibility to, for example, check a box or add some additional information. So actually exactly how you may have the process, what was on pen and paper, that you just check some boxes, add your address, and then you start the signing. Next to that, we also have the new design. I don't know if some of you may have noticed it during the video of the demo, but we already used the new colors and fonts for the design, and we will also make it available to you. And starting off with what you see is what you sign. So what your signer will get to see.
So this is a sneak peek of how this looks. As you can see, this is actually very clean. We changed a bit how the user feels and how the feeling of the application works. So the primary actions are located at the bottom as it was, but previously our secondary actions were here. This sometimes it poses a problem. For example, on mobiles have a lot of different screens and sizes are very different from each other, and it's very hard to control how to do it. So the secondary actions are now at the top on computers and on laptops, and on mobile you can see this is actually a menu which pops up. This opens up for a lot of more possibilities to keep on expanding the actions we want to do. As you can see here, it's also, as Emmanuel already mentioned, in the new branding colors. For example, here, this image is how you reject a package. You can see it now pops from the side instead of being a pop-up. It's also very clean. You can see at the side here, you have actually a lot of space, which is also an option to expand and to make more changes to our application. So this will offer a very good experience for the user on almost every device possible.
Okay, so this was in general the most important features of V6. In case you would like to look a little bit more in depth what those features involve, please take a look at our documentation website. You may also find information on other features if you are in another version or you just need help. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to us through the support desk, so service@connective.eu, so we can assist you in any type of inquiry. Thank you so much. So now we will take our time because I see that some of you already asked some questions in the chat. So the first one is if there are possibilities to sign in through the single sign-on other than the Azure.
Yeah, so there are a lot of options. It's actually through OpenID Connect. So when using this implementation, you should be able to use other identity providers. The thing is, all these things are very detailed, and it can change for you and for another client. So I would suggest to go to our documentation and to check out what the options are. If of course it's not sure, you can just contact us. We'll be guiding you to, we'll try to answer your questions, of course. But I cannot really share a lot of details, as this will be very client specific. Looking at the next question here. Yes, so the browser plugin is still supported. So in our config, we have the option. Okay, so the question is it still an option to use the browser plugin instead of the Sign ID? It is indeed an option. You can select it in the config to go for the previous browser plugin. It's also by default, we will be using the browser plugin and will not be changing to Sign ID. If you have a new install, so 6.0 is your first installation, and you will be using the Sign ID upfront. I see that for restricted PCs, it's also a question, indeed it's a good question. In the next version of our Sign ID, we will be losing the restriction for the Sign ID. So the installation you will be able to install it without the admin privileges. Looking at the next question here.
If single sign-on is only for the document portal, or can it be used for signature portal as well? Well, it's actually just to sign in. So you will always end up in the document portal, but then eventually you can also click in the sign-up portal, so you can access both, but it will start in the document portal.
Yeah, so an initiator will indeed log in the document portal, and if you go to the sign-up portal, you will be indeed using the SSO logon. And there's no SSO logon what you see is what you sign just yet, so that will not be used as of now.
Yeah, there's also someone who quickly mentioned, asked if the API would change with version 6. Yes, we have a new API, version 4, but Maarten already mentioned that it's very flexible and it's actually in the benefit of all of you. But yeah, you can always find all the information through the documentation website for that.
Yeah, of course, the previous one is still supported. To install the Sign ID, are admin rights required by user? Now it's still required, so that's why we offer the option to use the browser package, the previous browser package. In our next version, which will come very soon, we will get rid of the elevated rights, so you will be able to install it without having the admin rights on your computer. So I hope that answers your question a bit.
I also received a question concerning ItsMe, whether it's possible that all of the banks offer the possibility to create an account. Well, you can actually also create an account through your identity card. You don't have to do it through your bank. So it should be possible for everyone to sign with ItsMe. There's also a question on how you can activate it. Then I suggest that you can just contact me for it. I will provide you all the necessary information. But just to give a clear overview, there are some terms and conditions that need to be signed. Then we need to activate it. And of course, there's an additional cost depending on the volume you are willing to take. Sorry.
So looking for the next question here. Will the survey help get a quick diagnostic when something goes wrong?
I think the help tool is actually just to explain how to use or what you see is what you sign. So if you're directed, if you have to sign something as a user and you get there, you can use the help button and it will direct you to our documentation website, which will explain in detail whatever you have to do, or which will explain how you will be doing it.
With the new design, the checkbox is back.
The checkbox to, someone asked that with the new design, the checkbox to agree with all the policies and the terms and conditions is back. Well, it's something that you can also enable or disable. So it's up to you if you want to keep it in the new design or not. We always keep it in our environments, but don't worry if it's configured in a way that it doesn't show for you, it will still be the same.
How does signing in ItsMe work? I think you already answered this one.
Yes.
How many? Is there an exhaustive list of how many and what qualified signature methods are supported? I think we can provide a list, but right now I can't really tell this in the webinar. But you can contact us, and we should be able to.
So Daniel, I will provide you with a list. We have a clear. I can give you a clear overview of what's already in scope and what's still yet to come. But I just want to inform all of you, we are really working on aiming towards a very broad scope of different signing methods all over the world. Of course, we will focus more in Europe in first steps. But as we mentioned before, the sign ID opens a lot of possibilities. So we are working on adding a lot of different signing types in the near future. For the statistics of the use of the platform, so if you want to measure the monitoring, for example, or also the reporting is already available through API. If you are working only with the portal, you can contact me and I will provide you all the numbers, depending on the time frame, of course, that you are requesting. And for the monitoring, we are actually working on adding a feature in our portal where you can sign in with your Google Analytics or Hotjar accounts. And that way the environment is linked to your account on those two tools, and then you can have a clear overview of the different things that are available in that tool to monitor. So yes, and that is planned in the second half of the year. I think that we went over.
I might be able to answer one more question, I think. So yeah, indeed, you can still use API v3 and API v4, you can match them. That's actually the thing with API v4. It's actually very flexible. It allows for a lot of working with API very easy. You can do everything in small steps. As before, you had to do everything at once. Right now, you're allowed to, for example, add an actor afterwards in one call. You can remove them in another call. You have the option to do that for everything which you need in the packages via API. So whenever a package is in draft, you can still change it. Whenever it's past draft, you will not be able to change it anymore, and you'll just have to walk through the normal flow. When is API v5 foreseen? Just to have an indication. I think we are still expanding API v4, so there's still a lot of things on the roadmap. on the roadmap for API v4. For example, edge calls are still in development. These will be added afterwards. The idea is to keep on expanding this API and not actually see at more different versions of API. As this is such a flexible API, we should be able to keep on expanding this one until we reach our limitations here. So I don't think we already know when API v5 is foreseen.
Okay. I think we went through most of them.
Yeah.
Let me check.
So yeah, for sign ID, for example, we will start off, of course, with AID and vLawyer as standard smart cards as supported. Afterwards, with 6.1, we'll roll out the option to add more smart cards and add more signature methods. Of course, these will not work out of the box. We have to ask our team to implement them, and it will be a very minor effort to make sure they're working. I'm not sure if there's any more questions for this.
The audit trail will be released in 6.2. So this will be in September. Then how long will API v3 be supported? Normally it's about 2 versions back, so still 2 years.
I think you can find this in documentation. I don't know.
Yeah, it's confirmed in documentation.
Yeah.
And then more info on the SSO.
Yes, so the whole user management is actually separated from our application right now, and it's in the part we call our SSO tool. This is actually a very technical thing, and I would like to say it's best to check out our documentation. It's very extensive, and you can really find everything. Of course, if something is not really clear, you can still ask for more details with support.
And about the upgrades for the clients, we will contact you when we are planning your upgrade, and if this timing is not convenient to you, then we will make sure that we find a different timing that works for you as well. Okay, so I think that we answered about all of the questions. Don't worry, we will definitely take note of all the questions that were asked in the chat, and we send you an overview with all the answers in one of the coming days. So I hope that this webinar was useful to you and you received a lot of information. I know that with a great version, it's always a little bit unsure because it's, of course, there's a lot of changes, but we are very convinced that this is very positive and beneficial to all of you. So we are really hoping that you will experience the same. So we will close the webinar right now. Thank you so much for attending, and we will provide all the information as soon as possible. Have a great day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.